Hello there. I want to show you a project that I've been working on. It is called the Fun Programming Language. The purpose of the Fun Programming Language is twofold. One is to help programmers learn functional programming. It distinguishes between two different styles of programming, particularly the functional style and the imperative style. And you actually use a different keyword. Just when you're doing fun, when you're making a fun, then it's assumed that the code inside of the fun will all be functional in this functional style. And when you're using a proc, then it's assumed that the code within the procs are in the imperative style. And the programming language will enforce that for you, making sure that your functions are indeed pure functions, for example, in addition to other things. But a secondary purpose of this project is to give learners about how programming languages work, a reference implementation of a programming language. So this is that. All of the code for the Fun programming language is open source, and also it's made the project is structured in a way that allows for discoverability. So I'll actually show you a little bit of how the structure is put together. So let's actually download the source code for this project by cloning it. And so git clone the project URL, and then at this point you have a funlang folder, cd into it, and the first thing you want to do is just npm install to bring in any dependencies. Okay, so now that the dependencies have been installed, the next step is you want to npm run gen parser. And if you've been following my videos through using Nearly.js, what this does is exactly what the gen parser tasks in the videos are doing. It's taking the Nearly.js parser format and generating a JavaScript file out of that. So that it basically, this Nearly compiler took this .ne file and generated a .js file as a result of that. I also have a thing that checks just in case you have a syntax error. I'm gonna use Atom to look at the source code. And so we have all the source code here. And feel free to read the documentation that I have written. So there's a contributing.md, which if you're interested in contributing to this project or just learning about the internals of this project, I have written out what the AST looks like, etc. There's a source folder which contains the source code of the core of the programming language, which includes the parser, a checker, a generator. We also have a lexer, which I haven't covered in the videos, but I am planning to in the future, and a runner, which in addition to doing all these steps, it also executes the actual code. We have some tests, which is written using the Jest testing framework. These are some scripts for developers to do the intermediate steps, such as parsing and checking and generating. And also run.js will do all those steps plus executing the program. We have some examples, example programs. So if you want to take a look at what the syntax looks like, or just have to have a working example that you can play with, then the examples folder has that for you. Yeah, so I'm actually going to make a brand new program from scratch. I'm gonna call it play.fun. And in a fun program, the first thing you do is want to make a proc, which is called main. You want to make the main proc. This is the entry point of your program, and like Python and Ruby, this programming language has a print function, so you can, or it's actually a proc. It's not pure function, but so you can call print, and that should make for a hello world program. So to do this, you're gonna use the run.js script inside the scripts folder. You have to execute it with node, and then you put the name of your program or the file path of your program in as the first argument, and that prints hello world. Cool. Let's do a loop or something. So I think I can do this. So let's say I want to for n, and this is very Python-esque here. Okay, I have a list of numbers. I want to loop through them. Hello. And then I put the number in there. Let's see if that works. No. Let me try something else. Let me try making an array numbers, store it in the numbers, and then put the numbers here. See if that works. No, statement.body.map is not a function. Should I debug this? Let me try. So statement.body.map is not a function that is coming from our generator.js. Maybe we should just do a little live debugging here. And if I fix the bug, I get to fix the bug in the programming language, and you get to see me do some debugging. How about that? So this error is coming from generator.js, line 64, and the generator is the part that's responsible for generating JavaScript, right? And its input is an AST. So what we can do is actually figure out what the AST is for this program, and then we can sort of look deeper into what happened, like what went wrong here. Okay, so, and there's a way to tell the language to just parse your code and give you the AST, and that is scripts.parse, and again giving it your program, and now it has generated play.ast. And do we have play.ast? Yes. So the AST looks like this. There's a lot of stuff. A lot of the noise have to do with this line number information, which is used by the generator and checker to give the user line number information. But now we're gonna try to execute this generator by calling generate, and well, so after parsing, we can generate the program and convert it to JavaScript by calling this generate script and supplying to it the AST file, and we get this error, which is more or less what we expected. For some reason, this one doesn't give me the stack trace. Let me see if I can fix that, or maybe I'm just gonna use this one for now. So line 64 of the generator. So line 64 of the generator says statement.body.map is not a function, where the statement I expect is the for loop here. So let's try to find a for loop here. So this is the for loop, and it has something in that is iterable, and then it has a body, and its body is actually not an array. So at some point, I think I changed the format of this AST node, it used to be that body was simply an array, which we could have done a map on it. So statement.body would have been an array previously, but I changed it so that body is actually a node called code block with statements in it, which is an array. So I think to fix this, we just have to drill into the statements property to actually get that array. Let's see if this fixes the problem. Not yet. Cannot read property map of undefined. Is statement undefined? Oh, it's statements. Statements plural. Oh, and that worked. And then we get a play.js file, which looks like this. It converted it to this format with a for loop, and that actually looks correct to me. Right, well, let's try just running the resulting play.js, and that did what we wanted. But now let's try using the run.js script to run this. So I'll use run.js to run this program, and that works. So okay, so that's an example of this programming language, and luckily it didn't take us that long to debug this program, and hopefully if I structure this in a way that's simple and clear to understand, that will always be the case, although you never know. Let me show you how to run the tests. So as you might expect, running the test is done with npm test, and at present all of the tests pass. We have a lot of extra console.log statements though, which I kind of don't like. So let me go in and remove them. Yeah. This must have come from some debugging session. Okay. So the tests pass, and the structure of the tests is such that there's a program defined inside of a string literal, and then there's a call to this run function, which came from this support file, and then the result, some aspect about the result is tested for adherence to the expectation. If you want to learn more about how the tests work, you can read this README file. Yeah, I think I'll stop here. That's just a brief introduction to this programming language, and also I guess you got to see me doing some debugging. Thanks for watching. See you next time.